Casual Vader. Jordan Peele's Nope is a film I wanted to love. I wanted to finally connect with a Jordan Peele project on a primal level. His other films are extremely well produced, and despite their mixed bag of reliance on earlier film tropes, are also very original extensions of those tropes. My only hope going into this was that he'd bring that unique knowledge and utilization of cinematic language to the sci-fi genre. It's truly a beautiful film. The cinematography really showcases Peele's great sense of framing. It's a very visually satisfying film. The lighting and sprawling vistas belie a sense of isolation and scope. The rest is a pretty head-scratching mess. The basic premise that something strange is happening in a remote town in the middle of nowhere, it's a classic one, but the film has a tonal problem. It meanders between maudlin, forced dramatic exposition and poorly manufactured psychological tension. Characters in the same scene show polarically different reactions to the same horrific event. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but when blank stare and shouting are the extent of a character's range, it gets tiresome pretty fast. It has several truly goofy scenes which don't simply break the flow of the emotional journey, but which completely undermine the stakes and rules established up to that point. The alien won't eat flags, except when the plot decides not to give a shit. TMZ appearing in the middle of nowhere to cover an undocumented UFO disturbance. Sure, why not? Character development is non-existent. Daniel Kaluuya as OJ is a completely one-note protagonist. He barely registers any emotion throughout the entire 2-hour and 13-minute runtime. His character would have benefited greatly from some kind of a substantial turn from quiet, reserved, mumbling wallflower to someone who grabs hold of his own agency and learns to be proactive to protect the people he loves. But that development just isn't there. Keke Palmer as M is a truly memorable character and deserved a better script-to-basic performance this strong around. Every single shot she's in is elevated by her electric personality and screen presence. Brandon Perea as Angel, an electronics superstore employee, gives a solid performance, but the character is written as a kind of sideshow sycophant. His enthusiasm only marginally works, feeling a little like a B-grade Michael Pena. Keith David is fine, he's basically playing Keith David. Steven Yeun is competent as Jupiter, the sole survivor of a primetime live on-the-air chimpanzee attack on a daytime talk show. Yes, I'm serious. But the character's backstory and narrative arc are so disconnected from the overall story that it seems completely unnecessary and out of place. Michael Wincott plays Antler's Holst, an aging cinematographer, but the film doesn't provide a sensible motivation for him to actually be there. Is it really that easy to get a world-renowned cinematographer to come to a small town and try and record UFOs for you? Fuck no. It's a ridiculous concept. Nope is a bit of an anachronism. It's an alien invasion / horror / character drama film that doesn't really know what it wants to accomplish, and therefore it fails to satisfy in any of those categories. It wears its influences on its sleeve, but that's as deep as it ever gets. It leans on spectacle, but it doesn't ever deliver on the grand-scale storytelling promise. The first thing that came to mind when it was over was how easy this would have been to make this a Cloverfield sequel. To that thought's end, I feel the need to then compare it directly with Cloverfield. Cloverfield is not, by any means, a great film. It has inconsistencies and contrivances galore, but it is extremely effective and efficient in its execution. They share extremely similar story beats, and they share a common and hard-to-imagine antagonist. Where Cloverfield succeeds is that it delivers on a massive and unseen threat with some incredible visual fireworks that stretch disbelief to the edge of the envelope, but don't break in-universe reality. Nope tears the envelope wide open. Characters have questionable consistency, they either behave like caricatures or cardboard cutouts. Cloverfield also has an identifiable narrative through line for the main characters to follow. Cloverfield's premise is basically, get from point A to point B. Nope meanders back and forth wildly between horse country, downtown cityscapes, and flashbacks to a tangentially related scene of real-life horror from a television talk show from several decades earlier. Nope feels like having a bunch of non-sequitur conversations with different people at the same time. It's trying to hit story beats and execute payoffs that it hasn't earned. It seems to take cynical exception to the concept of cause and effect. It has adapted thematic and structural elements of Close Encounters, Tremors, Cloverfield, but it seems to misunderstand how the mechanical structure of those films work. It wants the satisfaction of significant reveals, but pulls all of its potential punches, and never really fulfills the promise of that concept. Even the music feels disjointed. The ambient score by Michael Abels is suitably sinister and ominous, punctuated by excellently executed cues. The soundtrack, however, is a series of unrelated and strangely inconsistent pop movie standards. Ball of Confusion, Sunglasses at Night, both great tracks, but they don't have any real relation to anything involving character motivations or motifs, and are totally out of context for any character to be able to identify with. I guess I was expecting something more from Jordan Peele. Get Out showed that he could take a basic premise and make it into something special. A film that functioned on multiple levels, throwing a mirror up in front of the cinematic and societal expectations. Us showed that he was maturing both as a filmmaker and a prescient cinematic storyteller. Us dove headfirst into the twisted world of human interaction and perception. Unfortunately, I feel like while Nope is a wonderfully forward-thinking premise and a polished production, it's a step backward in societal examination and storytelling execution.